So I was scrolling through Instagram, trying to figure out how I can improve my models and maybe see if there's any cool, interesting ones to add to my collection. And I stumbled across this chaplain with an executioner sword wearing a knight's helmet with the hood on. I'm like, that's a pretty cool model. I want to figure out what that is. And I found out it's one I think called a Judiciary, which is the lower rank before a Space Marine becomes a chaplain. And I'm like, okay, I'll go see what it costs on eBay, all that stuff. And it's more than $100 to even try and get one. I didn't realize they don't make them anymore. I'm a little bit disappointed because they still have it in the codex and stuff. But I'm going to do the next best thing, and I'm going to kitbash my own. And yeah, plus I also need a new chaplain. This guy's been good. He's treated me well, but he also deserves an upgrade. So let's head over to the workbench and I'll show you what I'm using. So the easiest way I thought about converting this was actually using the body of a chaplain and grabbing the Black Templar upgrade sprue. The main thing I'm going for is their executioner style sword, but there is a few other bits I think I can use later on in the build. Now, as I'm going through and putting this guy together, I'm thinking, what parts do I want to keep on the model and what parts do I want to remove? Do I want to make the rib cage go away with some green stuff? Do I want to cut off the tassels? I decide not to remove those and keep those on for if I want to play him as a regular chaplain, I can. And going through this process, I'm test fitting, trying to figure out how it'd work. I decide I want to magnet every single arm, so it gives me the option to use him as a chaplain or use him as the Judiciar. And I personally like putting magnets on a model when I can, just to give me the ability to move them more like an action figure, I guess. Now, the main thing I do to this model is I cut off his left arm, and just to give me that flat, clean surface. Now, I do take some bits from the Black Templar upgrade sprue, mostly being this hand holding a skull and a chain, and replace it with this kind of ball that I think looks like an incense burner, and just kind of cutting the chain a little bit and putting the ball right in between. So after I kind of get all the other bits that I want to use together, I switched out the small little shield for a extra shield I had for my Deathwing Knights. It just sells with the Executioner sword. This chaplain guy taking off heads to the battlefield, spreading the word of the God Emperor to the heretics and to the mutants. I'm just happy that this is coming together. I threw on as many purity seals as I could. I take the one on his chest and throw it on his backpack later because it's just too much on the chest. But I'm also glad I added all the magnets just to make all these different parts and pieces. I'm just happy with this model already. So after priming him black, I do give him a quick dry brush of just white. Not going overboard with it. I prefer to do less white on him and then just add more over time. I've had models where I've just added too much and it just looks like a bad craft project. And after dry brushing, you can see all those hidden details just pop out now. And I can now picture where I need to put edge highlights in the future for when I start putting on the layer paints. So I decided to go with a dark burgundy brown for the coat and stuff instead of the black. I just kind of also was thinking he gives me like a Western cowboy vibe with the coat. So I just want to give him like this old beat up duster. And for the armor, I just give it a simple coat of like a dark blue wash. I should have added more white paint. I don't know what happened, but all the blue looks really glossy. I'm thinking it's just being straight on that base primer makes it look glossy. But if you guys know why that happens, let me know down below. So I do use 2 brown washes, snakebite leather, and a dark brown I have. Using the dark brown one more on the coat and the book, and the holster and belts get that snakebite. The snakebite actually works better for the shading on the books in here, but on the coat it didn't work as well as I hoped. I just decided to add a little bit more white to the paper and his chest and face to just make it pop a little bit more. And then after that, I move on to doing just a little bit of gold, trying hard not to mess up too much and have to go back and paint brown again on it. I wasn't fully sold on the edge highlighting that I was doing. It was very small and subtle, but I was trying to give him a worn, traveled look through it. Much later, when I add a wash on, it all actually kind of blends together and pops so much more. But I wanted it to seem like he was traveling through the battlefield with this coat almost tearing at the seams. I'm skipping over most of the extra arm bits because it's a lot of repeating of what I did on the model already, of just adding gold accents or silver metal, trying to blend and fixing up any mistakes I made. So the only one I will go into more detail with is the sword. I want to try something new. Normally I do molten weapons, but I want to try making this a power sword. So I added white checkers and dark blue checkers on it, and then blended those together with brighter paints going from the dark blue or not. This is how it turned out in the beginning. I thought it looked okay, but I wanted to see if I could make it look a bit better. So I threw on like a contrast paint, and it blended most of those colors together, almost made them kind of just all one color. Let me know which one you prefer more, of contrast paint or not contrast paint as the finish. So on this model, I use 2 washes. I use a dark blue wash to try and tone down the edge highlights on the armor just a little bit. And on the coat, I use a dark tone wash, which actually makes all those edge highlights I did before pop through and gets into all the nooks and crannies on the golden stuff, just making everything shine through. And with that, we have another model done to go on the shelf. And I gotta say, I have not been any more proud of any of my models than now. This has been a fun project to do. I enjoyed every little bit. In all honesty, this took me about a full day to do. Building it took a couple hours, and then painting him I think took the longest. But yeah, I am super happy and proud with this guy. And I love that I can take, I have them up here, that I can take and add on different bits and try and make him be different things. Because I mean, I get it. He's not a judiciary by the normal sense. I probably realize now that if he didn't have the tassels on the side or the halo, like that makes it more of a proper one. But I want to play with this guy back and forth on either one. So if I can say like, oh, hey, this is what he looks like, or this is what he is, and he's close enough, playing with my friends or playing with like a normal group of people at my like Warhammer community, I don't think they're going to care. And it's really like, it's a 10-point difference between Chaplain and Judiciary or whatever it's pronounced. But I'm just happy and excited that this got done. I am super proud. And yeah, he is going on the shelf of completed models. I have down here the shelf of shame, and up here is the shelf of things done. And then behind me, I got my carrying case with everything else. But I hope you enjoyed this video. This was a lot of fun to make, and I plan on doing more like this in the future. I'm thinking I'm going to have to make him a squad. He is going to have a personal squad, and that's actually a video for the future. Once I make it, I'll have it up LinkedIn. But with that, I hope you enjoyed, and I want you to go and make something awesome. I know you will.